Good evening. My name is Patrick Leader from Leader Games. This is Vast the Crystal Caverns. This is the fifth of 5 videos I'm shooting about the rules for Vast the Crystal Caverns. Of course, if you are wanting to learn how to play this game, read the rules, but this is a really fast overview for you to get started. Really fast, meaning it's still going to take an hour to watch. So this is the last roll. I would not suggest playing the Thief until you have a few games under your belt, but go ahead and do it if you want to, especially if you are eager to play a 5-player game. The Thief was added during the Kickstarter. He went through a couple concept changes, but I'm pretty happy with where we ended up with the Thief. He used to have these weird stealth movement counters. Not really important. Anyway, so let's talk about the Thief. When the Thief is in play, setup is a little bit different. You do not put these vault tiles in unless the Thief is in play. There are 6 of them. 2 of them will go into each third of the tile stack. So that is a little change. Like all the other characters, when you buy the set, you will be getting access to the Thief Standy, which I'll set aside for now, and you will also get the Thief Meeple, which I'll be using. You get the Thief's player board. The Thief has no cards. And the Thief has these 4-3-2 tokens. He has these to show whenever a vault does get flipped over, this is placed on it to show that it hasn't been looted yet. He gets this token to show his loot drop level, which I'll place right there. And you get these 5 gray cubes to track how many actions you have on your turn if you need help tracking the actions on your turn. This is purely an etiquette thing. If your group feels comfortable not using the cubes, by all means, you do not use the cubes on my account. I don't, in fact. Okay. You also get a die, which I will have to go find. You also get just a regular 6-sided die, which the Thief will need. The Thief's game is about assessing risk and dealing with risk, and so the die is part of that gameplay. The reason I say that people should avoid playing the Thief initially is that, like the Cave, the Thief has to keep all the other players from winning for a while to give himself enough time to win. And to do that, you have to be aware of how players are doing in the game, kind of the flow of the game, before you can really work to interfere with their abilities. Alright, so let's go through the Thief's turn. It's very simple. I've seen new players take the Thief's first couple turns in less than 30 seconds. You start out the game with this 4-3-2 token. These are your stat tokens. And you put them into movement, into stealth, and into thievery, in any order you want to. Movement is how many spaces the Thief will get to move that turn. The Thief starts his first turn on the entrance to the cave. Oh my gosh, I didn't talk about how the Thief wins. The Thief has been cursed by an evil warlock, and he is cursed to repeat this day over and over. If he dies, that's good for him, because he just pops back up and starts the day over again, but it's very annoying for him. So, he's trying to steal 6 treasures from the cave. These are the treasures. He may also steal dragon gems if he wants to, and if we introduce a roll with something like dragon gems, he'll be able to steal those also. When he has returned 6 of them to the entrance, he can return them as the game goes on. Then he is able to purchase his freedom, and he wins the game. Alright, so going back to the Thief's turn. The Thief places stat tokens. This shows how much movement he gets. This is literally how many spaces the Thief can move across the board. I'm trying to get everything in a frame. So if I have 3 movement, I can simply move 3 tiles. The Thief is allowed to go, cannot cross walls, but the Thief is allowed to move into dark spaces and through dark spaces as much as he wants to. It's assumed he has some method of seeing in the dark with him. The Thief's stealth is how quiet he is. The Thief has to have a higher stealth than the group he's trying to affect, than the role he's trying to affect when he does something to a roll. The Knight's perception is just set on its sheet. The Goblin's tribes are really hard to affect with thief abilities. The Goblin Tribe's perception is the strength of the tribe, its population, plus 1. And the thief's stealth still has to be higher. So a tribe with population 3 would have a perception of 4, and since the highest token you can place is a 4, you're not going to be able to. You would need a 5 to affect the Goblin Tribe in that situation. That would be very difficult to do. And that's not even the biggest size Goblin Tribe. So that's stealth. Stealth drops by 1 for every one thing that the thief is carrying. So if he's carrying 2 treasures back to the entrance, his stealth would effectively be 0 in this instance. The thief also has thievery, or actions, and it's a little hard to see because of the glare, but all of these abilities that the thief has cost a different number of actions listed in cubes, which, once again, is these cubes. It's how many cubes the thief gets. Okay, so, knowing that, the thief moves during his turn as much as he wants to. He can spend, or excuse me, the thief moves as much as he wants to up to his movement limit during his turn. He can move through walls. He cannot move through walls. He can move through dark spaces, and he can spend his actions as he moves. The thief, once per turn, may look at the underside of a tile, and if he chooses to, he may flip it over and reveal it. Generally, why he wants to do that is if he happens to find a treasure or a vault, he will want to flip it over. The thief can spend his actions as he goes. I'll real quick list his actions off. He can spend 1 cube to pick up a treasure with loot. Pick up 2. You can spend 2 to pick up a dragon gem safely. Pickpocket lets the thief either take a treasure from the knight, a secrets card from the goblins, or it will force the dragon to move one of his sloth cubes back into the greed section of his board, representing how many treasures he's carrying, and turn it into a treasure. So then he would pick up a treasure for doing that, and then try and escape. If he does that to the knight, the treasure card is returned to the bottom of the treasure stack. If he does that to the goblins, the secret card is merely discarded, and if he does it to the dragon, he just has to move a cube back. If a player kills him, all the treasures will fall back on the ground, so they could try and get them back. Usually when the thief gets the knight usually beefs up its perception and kills the thief, so the thief has to be careful. That's pickpocketing. If you spend 1 action on it, you roll the die, and if you get a 4 or higher, you succeed. If you spend 2 cubes, you have to roll 2 or higher, and if you spend 3 cubes, you always succeed. But you still have to be stealthier than the character you're trying to get. So, for instance, if I was trying to pickpocket the knight, and I had a 2 stealth, the knight better have 1 perception. I can also pick locks. So if I do successfully find a vault, picking locks converts the token on the vault, or you can use the meeple, which is this purple box. It converts it into a treasure that the thief immediately picks up. You can also climb walls. That costs 2 actions to move over a wall, and you still need to use your movement point to do it. You can backstab, which is where the control part of the game comes in, because it reduces other, like if you hit the knight, it reduces grit. If you hit a Goblin Tribe, oh excuse me, I'm like way off the camera here. If you hit a Goblin Tribe, it reduces population, and if you hit a dragon, the dragon has to lose that many power cards because the dragon draws cards at the end of his turn. You can also hide loot. If you hide loot, for every action you spend, you remove 1 from your loot drop. Loot drop resets anytime you move back to the entrance while you're carrying a treasure, you automatically drop it off, and I'll explain what happens when you do that. And loot drop resets to 3. The reason you want to spend actions to reduce this then is that if somebody kills you, they get a benefit based on which role they are, based on how strong this is. So by spending actions to lower this, you're de-incentivizing other players from attacking you. Every time you bring a treasure back in, then, you get to take the treasure, and you can put it on one of these dagger symbols on the board, and you gain a benefit from doing that. These are called upgrades. If you upgrade the stats, then that stat is 1 higher for the rest of the game, no matter which symbol you put there. So for instance, if I had this, I would have 4 movement. If you spend it down here on flip stat token, you can actually flip these tokens over and they become new numbers. You can do 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and if you flip the last one, what actually happens is you remove all the tokens, and they're all soon to be 4 for the rest of the game. That's why it says all 4 there. You can also upgrade pickpocketing, picking locks, climbing, backstabbing, and if you improve hide loot, it means every time you get killed, you actually get a saving throw where you roll to die, and if you get a 4 or higher, you actually dodge the attack. The knight could then spend another encounter attacking you if they had found you. The goblins, of course, only get 1 action per turn per tribe, so if they miss you, they wouldn't be able to hit you again. And the dragon could spend another card to try and attack you again if they used a claw, for instance, to hit you. Every time the thief dies, then, you drop everything you're carrying at the moment and return to the entrance and at the beginning of your turn and start over again. You do get to keep all of your upgrades, though, once they've been placed. Once you get 6 treasures, which is 6 upgrades, you then just need to return to the entrance and you win the game. Alright, that concludes the thief video. Thank you.